Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahaihi. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardhanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. So we are on chapter 11. Today we will be doing verse 7. And the English translation of verse 6 is Krishna Bhagavan told Arjuna, behold, the Adityas, the Vasus, the Rudras, the two Ashwin Kumaras, and also the Maruts, behold many wonders never seen before, O Bharata. So he's preparing Arjuna what he can expect to see. So that same preparation is going to continue in verse 7. And then in verse 8, he gives him the Divya Drishti. So before even giving the Divya Drishti, because before he actually sees, he's just mentally preparing him, all the different things. So that's what it is. So here is verse 7. Ihai kastam jagat kritsnam pashyadya sacharacharam mama dehe gudakesha yachanyad drushtimicchasi. Iha is in this, here, right here, and in what? Ekastham, concentrated, centered in one. Ek saath, together, that means. Jagat is Jagat, the universe, and then we had, earlier we kind of had a definition of Jagat. It not only involves the physical world, but mental, all of the dreams, everything together. So it has a vast reach, the Jagat word. Kritsnam is a whole, entire Jagat. No confusion about it or partial or anything like that. It's capable of showing you everything, basically. That's what it's saying, whatever you can handle. Pashya, this word has come many times. It actually means see, but here Swamiji is using the word behold. Try to understand it. Just seeing is, we see so many things, nothing goes into our head. This is like understanding with the seeing. That's why I call behold. Adya is now. And this word is also very important. Ye nahi ki koi future mein kuch dikhai dega. No, right now I'm going to do this. That's what it means. Sachar acharam. Chara and achar basically. Moving and unmoving. Sentient, insentient. Many different things. Basically, like stones and things like that. And moving. And some people put plants also in the category of unmoving. So whichever way you want to look at it. Or sentient and insentient. Then plants come on the other side. So, a little bit of it can be confusing, but everything. If somebody wants to divide into two, so moving and non-moving, you can say. So, mama is, of course, me, my. Dehe, we know this word. Deha means body. Gudakesha is name of Arjuna. He's calling him. That's like a very sweet kind of friendly word. That is, I'm going to show you this Aishwarya, but you're still my friend. That kind of, that's why he's using this word. Yat, that. Cha is an. Anyat is other. Drushtum, to see. Whatever else you want to see, that's what it means. Itchasi, you desire. I mean, quite an amazing thing. You can see whatever you want to. Imagine the grace and compassion, So, certain points from Nikhilanandji. So here when he says ekastham, that available in one place, in my body, that's what it means, that we talked about it. And you can see the entire creation. And then the sentient and insentient you see in my particular body. And a very important point that he mentioned, it's not that Krishna Bhagwan took some other form, because sometimes, in this different depiction in the serials and all that, when they show, it is okay, because we're trying to grasp the whole thing कि उन्होंने ऐसा बहुत कुछ बड़ा बना लिया अपने आप को वगैरह वगैरह, he was just saying that it is Krishna Bhagwan only, and he, remember we talked about it, he custom designed it for Arjuna, just like when Yashoda Ma told him to open the mouth, he opened the mouth. He didn't become like a big baby or anything, but within that she could see something. See what I'm saying? Same way, according to Nikhilanandji, it was Krishna Bhagwan itself he showed right there and then everything. So then he became something else. And he, of course, told him that you will see the entire world, and to grasp the entire world, it sounds like almost impossible, right? Because it's like future, past, and the present, we can't even comprehend. Just even if you take one, you can't comprehend. So that's why he said, whatever you want to see, you can see too. If you have a particular thing in mind, you can see. And this is kind of interesting. Whoever watches or is interested in this near-death experience, and we have sometimes we have talked about this lady called Anita Murjani. Maybe some of you have heard about her, and she was saying that when she was in that realm, which when outside the body, whatever she thought of, she could see that. It's hard for us to imagine. She was thinking about her brother, and then she saw that the brother was coming from whichever, I don't know which country he was, maybe India or Hong Kong, I don't remember now. She saw him coming in the plane or something. So whatever she was putting her mind into, that's what she could see. She had the ability to do that. So these are the, sitting here on the earth in this limited mind, and some experience like that, we kind of, now I understand what Krishna Bhagwan is saying. He's giving him the capability, whatever you want to see, you will be able to see. Kind of very powerful thing. And then, of course, if you want to see your future also, you can see. And I think I had mentioned it, later on in the chapter, it's going to come that Arjuna saw the future, because obviously that was on his mind. But we won't go in detail. Don't spoil the movie beforehand only. So I little bit spoiled it, but a lot of you have already read Gita, so it's not anything, kind of secret or anything, but it will be coming that he will see. And then, just expanding a little bit, because Nikhilanandji was just trying to expand this whole thing. Hey, what is that? What does it mean? I can see everything. We sitting on the earth, we say, no, is there a life on the other planets? The people are just so this and that, like in limbo. We don't know. It should be there logically, but we don't know and all that. Hey, if you want to see other worlds, you can see that too. You want to see variety of beings, because we say, okay, we are like here on the earth and this is how human beings look. I wonder if it's on the other planet, how do they look? Do they have some other? And some people believe that there is a species which is like Naga and humans together. It just sounds very creepy to us, but some people have some experience with them. It seems they live somewhere. So you want to see variety of beings, you can. And, forget about the other world besides Earth. Even on Earth, they keep finding new species and new birds and new fishes and God knows what. So, hey, you can see everything, whatever you want to see. And then variety of experiences, because remember, the word Jagat means not only the physical world, mental world, dream world, and variety of experiences, objects, anything. So all that comes under that. Colors, forms. There are people who have this near-death experience. They go to the other side. They say they see colors that they have never seen before. Like we get stuck into those 7 or 8 colors, right, of rainbow. That's all we know. And a mixture of that. They say they see colors that they never, and what do you mean? That's not possible. It is. Our senses, just our eyes or spectrum that we have, just sees that particular thing. That's why. It's a limited capability. you can color form also, you want to see whatever. And then what he was saying, that try to remember this concept, because while going through these verses and this chapter and all that, whatever Bhagwan has said before, it becomes more strong, those, because sometimes when we read the like ninth chapter, Bhagwan said that in everything of this world God exists, and in every thing exists in God. See what I'm saying? Hey, what does it mean? Now we are getting the picture what it means. Okay, that in the 10th chapter, Bhagwan showed how to see God in every object of the world, and now he's showing how everything exists in God. So that's what we have to. So now the clarity will come with this. And then he said about something very interesting, and you may be knowing about it. I didn't know. So I did a little research. He talked about holograms. Anybody knows a special quality of hologram? What it is? I didn't know. We know what hologram is, right? It's like they project some light and it looks like a 3D thing. जैसे सचमुच कुछ सामने हो रहा है, right? Hologram. It seems that hologram has some very interesting quality, that once they create that hologram, even if you cut that hologram in half, it has the whole picture. Okay? This is, so I said, how can that be? I was like so confused. And they said, if you further cut it in half, again, that spectrum of light has the entire picture. So how can that be? So I actually, all of you do this, because this is mind blowing. This is science. This is actually true. This is that every part of the hologram light has an entire picture in it. And there is some scientific explanation to it. And you guys do your own research and find out. And it seems there's a physicist called David Bohm, Bohm. Not B-O, like B-M, not that wala bomb, huh? But it's, I don't know how to pronounce it, Bohm, the physicist. And he compared this hologram image to the universe, Vedanta. Because Vedanta says that, like they say, in our body, the whole Brahmand is in our body. Whatever is out there in the universe, it is in us. Each person has like everything in it. We are made of stardust, or whatever they say, in the different ways of explaining it. So that's one. And then you say, how can that be possible? Go back to the biological sciences. It seems that every cell of our body, there are billions and trillions of cells, each is independent, and whole genetic information is in it. Right? वो भी हमने सुना है, and you can, my husband is sitting over there, so he probably understands this more, but इतना सुना है हमने, and that's why they can do things like genetic, what do you call it, genetic engineering, and with the one cell they can create the whole body and things like that. They have all the technologies, I don't know how far they can actually do it, but this is a fact. That a small thing contains the information about everything. So in the universe, it's like that too. And Nikhilanandji was saying that there is a statement in I think it's in the Chandogya or something. It says, Sarvam Khalavidam Brahma. This and whole universe is present in every point of existence. And that's why this theory of like, hey, the singularity, at one point, everything became singular. And then we are going to go into our Upanishad, right? Aitreya Upanishad. It's going to be that before this world came, there was only Atman. There was nothing else. And there were so many bhajans also, jab kuch nahi tha, tab tu hi tu tha, ye wo, vagara, vagara. So many beautiful bhajans are there. All these kind of matches now that this is how it is. So, I just made some note about the hologram because mera to sar chakra gaya. So it says every small part of the hologram contains information about the entire image, though with reduced detail and sharpness. That may be, it's there, reduced detail and sharpness, but it is there. And so each part of reality implicitly contains the whole, just as the hologram does. That's how it is in the universe. And our teacher used to always say that Bhagwan always gives us some hints. You know, that's why now the scientists have these holograms. ऐसा possible है तो वैसा भी हो सकता है, right? And then she used to always say, Bhagwan ने dream क्यों बनाया है to tell us that, you know, when we are in the dream, it seems very real, but it's not real. So same way, this world is, okay, this is how it is, you know. So all these things were very important. You know? So this is what he was saying, Nikhilanandji. You know, that the universe is very vast, but even if you pick a little grain of sand, it can give you a lot of information about the universe, huh? And say how it is possible. So he gave another, what was it? Okay, maybe it'll come to me. There is one more statement, Yatha Pinde Tatha Brahmande. These are the statements that you may have heard from different Upanishads and Puranas and all that, that whatever is in one unit, it is in the entire creation. Same thing. I'm just saying, giving you proofs that, you know, in our system also, Vedanta already mentioned, science is proving it now. And then, one more thing that he said, what he was saying, and this everybody will agree, that when we look up, we see the solar system, and we see this, you know, the sun is there, and all the planets are going around it, and all that. You know, there is a one center, and then if you go to all the way to atom, exactly same thing is happening. You have this nucleus, and then you have those things going around it. Huh? So even that proves it, that the system, at a very, very the minutest level that we can't even see, is there, and the biggest level it is there. That's another point. I thought that was very interesting. Okay, and so that whatever is in there in totality is there in one unit. So these are the things that he was proving. You know, the way I look at it, when they talk about these things, my curiosity goes, and then I do some research. I'm learning science also through this Vedanta. I like that, because, you know, it's like science and Vedanta are coming together. And then this last thing it just blew my mind. And I think you must have heard about it. I had heard, I still don't understand it. Maybe one of you understand it more, and you can do more research. That it seems that they did this research that about particles, atomic particles, they call it, that even if this particular particle is separated by huge distance, if something happens to one, it happens to the other one too. Have you heard of this? They call it some kind of entanglement is the word. The first word, I'm not getting it. Some entanglement, they call it. So, but the interesting thing is that if this one particle moves in one direction, immediately that other particle moves in the opposite direction, as though they are communicating. But from the scientific perspective, there is no connection. Means, you know, they could be light years away. They have proved it that this happens. You know, quantum entanglement, it's called. Whoever wants to do that research, do that, because I don't understand completely, but they have proven it, that they are somehow connected with each other, and the distance does not matter. And they don't know how it communicates or why it happens, and it gave some explanation. I personally could not understand it, but it's there. Okay? So, these are the things that he was talking about. It is possible. Because sometimes we say, how can that be possible? See the whole Brahmand in Krishna Bhagwan's body. Science is also telling you that there are certain things that it is possible. Okay. Any question about this before we read it? I gave a lot. I hope I didn't confuse. Here, Meena ji, what are you saying?
you gave us enough to do our research.
Yes.
You've given enough material.
Yeah. And I think each one is very interesting. Wouldn't you say that? It's tremendous, Yeah.
Yeah, which we have no idea. So
And me, I also, when I looked, I said, how can that be possible? So I did my research and it said, yes, that's true. And it gave some example. It says, it's like somebody throws, like, say, 4 stones in a water, right? So it creates ripples. Huh? And that ripples, they said by reading that ripple, you can tell that the 4 stones were thrown. Each ripple gets some kind of a vibration. So I said, okay, that makes sense. And then the other thing that Swamiji explained, because I think that Nikhilanandji has some scientific background, must be in his studies. That's why he used to bring all these things. He said it's like, suppose there is a fish tank. Huh? And so there is one fish. And now you put 2 cameras on either side and take a picture of that. So what will happen? One camera will take one picture, another will take another picture. It will be slightly different angle. But the picture is, fish is only one. But you are seeing 2 images, correct? So he's saying hologram में भी क्या होता है कि when they say that each point contains everything, when they try to decipher it, they see slightly different angle of it each time, but it's the same image, like that.
Okay.
So that's what he was saying. So little bit I could understand, but grasping the whole thing. But what made me really happy is, hey, this is proving what Krishna Bhagwan is saying. Even scientifically, it's possible. That's what made me happy. Maybe you guys also got convinced a little bit. You can do your own research. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other question, comment before we go? Okay. Who would like to read? Any volunteers to read? Anilji, would you like to read?
All right. Now behold, O Gudakesh, in this body that the whole universe centered in one, including the moving and the unmoving, and whatever else you desire to see. The enthusiastic seeker's adventurous mind has been sufficiently educated so far to develop an unending wealth of eagerness to know. Krishna further educates, sharpening in the student the anxiety to know in his mind with sufficient details on what all he may expect in the divine vision that is to follow. Next, in this secret technique, it makes the student ardently converge all his attention towards one given divine form. This is achieved by this verse. If we thus follow the technique developed through the expressed words, we shall find that Vyas has here revealed the entire science of love as adumbrated in the cult of bhakti or devotion to the Supreme.
So here, he just, because it's such a difficult concept, everybody is giving their own explanation, and we have to kind of soak in everybody's explanation. That he has Arjuna has anxiety to know, and he's just giving him different angles so that he can, when he actually shows him, he can get maximum out of it. And the reason he mentioned about bhakti or devotion is because one thing is to keep talking about theory, which Bhagwan already said that, hey, everything exists in me. But the real bhakti comes when you have absolutely no doubt because you saw it with your own eyes, right? That's the thing. And I had some more notes I forgot to tell you. Maybe I'll go back to it, do that, and then we can further read, because there are a few things that we can contemplate upon more, and what this verse is going to do for us and all that. That Krishna Bhagwan over here, and something could be repeating thing, but try slightly looking at from the other, because I got so caught up in that science. I missed telling you some of the more stuff from here. that when he said that you will see everything over there, so from the smallest to the vastest thing. So somebody said it's like from the blade of grass to Brahmaji. That is the spectrum over there, just to get the idea that everything exists in this cosmic being. And then what basically he's trying to do is taking this multiplicity of existence and showing in a single divine unit. That's what it is. When he said ekas, ihai ekastam jagat kritsnam, that's what it means. And few great people, how they looked at it, like Shankaracharya ji. He said ekastham over here means concentrated in one locus. That all forms existing simultaneously within one body. And we talked about it, that you take a seed and you say, can you see a forest in this? It's possible, right? That's how we have to see this. And so it's not, and then the other thing is that we have mentioned it many times, and Shankaracharya said the same thing, that this vision is not through ordinary sight, but through divine eye. Now, what is the definition of divine eye? It can be many different things. Different enhanced capability. I don't know how many of you saw that movie, The Man Who Knew Infinity, about this Ramanuj. Ramanuj is a mathematician. He was from a small village. Whoever has not seen it, see that movie. He was from a small village in India, and he could do this mathematics like more than a Harvard professor or whatever. And he went to England and all the whole stories there. He died very early, but somebody asked him, hey, how do you do this? And he picks up some grain of sands and he puts it like say couple of grains, and he puts it in his hand. Not grain of sand, like a pinch of sand. In one pinch, there will be many grains. So he said, what do you see? He said, I see sand. He said that just imagine if you could see each grain of sand separate. That's how I see the math. He has created formulas after formulas. And what happened to him was he gave the formula, and these people in that Oxford University or something, they said, no, you have to prove it. He didn't know how to prove it because he just came the final decision. It's like that, what was the name of that lady, Shakuntala Devi? She could solve that. She can do it in a second or for a few seconds, the whole big 30-digit number or something, and it every time is correct. And somebody say, hey, show me how you do it. She may not be able to tell you, but she knows that's the correct answer, and they've proven it. Same thing. But so he had a lot of difficulty that people could not understand him. But after he was gone, poor guy, after he died, abhi sab uske geet ga rahe hain. That yes, because everything other people could prove it. They did all their Western experimentation, whatever they call it. It's like, they say haldi is good for everything. Those Rishi Muni knew everything. But now the science has to prove it. Otherwise, these people will not believe it. That's how. Science is proving it. Okay? Something. So that is what he was talking about. Okay. So here he's saying that, behold my body, the entire universe with all that moves and does not move. So divine form, not ordinary human body. That's what we have to. When Krishna Bhagwan is saying, in my body, obviously we have to believe it's a divine thing, not just ordinary body. Within this universal form, we'll see everything. Okay. And then some more definition of chara and achar. So it can be moving beings, can be living beings, and mobile entities, and unmoving mountains, rivers, things like that. And then from same concept, from gods to the stone, everything, And then the other word, adhya, is I'm going to show it now, this moment, right now, is about to begin. That's what he was saying. That we discussed that, but just wanted to emphasize on that. And then some people said in this language, and that will maybe sink in a little better, that the divine vision is not an external spectacle, like kuch bahar aisa dekh liya, but an intuitive realization of oneness. Like that. Like For example, now when we say the outside, when we see the solar system, it is moving, and then in the atom, it is also moving. I cannot see that right now, can I? But by studying and understanding and spending time, now I know that it is true, and all of us agree. Same way you can apply to this, So Divya Chakshu is like a Jnana Chakshu, eye of wisdom, because, don't get confused about that. And the other thing that we have always mentioned, but this again proves it, this vision proves it, that seeing all in one, what does it tell us? That Brahman is a substratum of all being. जब हम बोलते हैं ना कण कण में भगवान ही सबका आधार है, what does it mean? Now it's being proven, because there is a Sanskrit का word है adhishtan, support. Bhagwan is a support of everything. And then Bhakti का जो angle लिया है वो of Madhusudan Saraswati ji does, and he said that seeing the universe within the Lord is not a physical compression but spiritual experience. He's saying of oneness, and then what happens in that spiritual experience, this distinction of this and that disappears. Tera mera, like, like there is one doha, and it seems in Tulsi Ramayan that I think it was Lakshman ji who asked Ramchandra ji that Maya kya hai, and Ramchandra ji says, tu aur tera aur main aur mera, tu and tor, main and more is Maya. That's all it is. ये मैं हूँ, ये वो है, वो उसका है, और ये मेरा है. That is called Maya. Okay, so that's what he's talking about. That Maya भाग गई इसमें, in that oneness, background में चली गई, and then Madhusudan Saraswati ji says that this vision was granted by divine grace. Why? To reinforce Arjun's devotion and understanding of Krishna's supreme cosmic role. Like same thing that, hey, I have heard it and I'm seeing it, my doubts are gone. That's what it is. So he's saying that this is again non-dual. When we say that Advait Vedant, some people have a lot of problem with this word Advait Vedant. Jo Dvaiti hai na, wo khub argue karenge and all that. But, if you think about it, that this particular verse is, they say, okay, world may appear multiple, but it is, one truth appearing as diverse. So this again proves it, this particular one. And then the little broader aspect of it, what we understand from this, because these are kind of important things, that what can we draw out of this verse, right? That Jagat is, it's not that it's contained in the world, but, contained in Bhagwan, but it is contained, sustained, and operated all by him also. So that's another thing that, that's why we have the Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. He will see the Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh in there. Because, and these three aspects are continuously going on, it is within Bhagwan only. And then in the this particular chapter, there will be Krishna's glory he will see, wrath he will see. Wrath means bhayanak roop. Unka dekhenge, Kaal, मैं काल बन जाता हूँ. And we don't want to get into it, I don't want to be scared. Arjuna got scared too. And he will see his mercy, and he will see his control. Because we saw that in the other Upanishad also, he's saying that Bhagwan is a lawmaker. Behind every law, there has to be a lawmaker. And everybody's scared of the lawmaker, because if you break some law, punishment is waiting for you, So that's what it is. So that's what he was talking about. So Arjuna, after seeing this, get terrified and sees the other kripa drishti also he sees of Bhagwan. Both aspects he will see, depending on what we do. And then the other thing that will happen, which happened to Arjuna also, that by seeing the Lord encompassing everything, it removes the attachments and limited identities that we get stuck into, So, because, hey, what is the use of going through this chapter? That's what it should do to us. That oneness we feel, and, that attachment should get loosened up. And then it kind of dissolves all the boundaries. so to speak. Boundaries between what? Friend and foe, self and the world, all that, you know. So then it will, once you have that bigger vision, your dharma, what is dharma, will become more clear. Remember, the whole thing started when Arjuna got limited thinking. Oh, these are my relatives, how can I kill them, blah, blah, blah. If you go back to chapter 1, and then he literally got paralyzed in his mind, and he can't, moral doubt started coming, how can I kill you? It will become more clear. Even if you have to do some difficult duty, you will have a clarity about it because the vision expanded so much. So those are the good things. And then in the end, basically what it is that if we can see this all pervading nature, then that bhakti and gyan both will dawn upon us. Gyan pakka ho jayega, like intellectual gyan to usko tha hi, wisdom mein badal jayega, and have a bhakti. So basically it just, this vision, this expands his mind, and it transforms Arjun's knowledge into wisdom, and what his duties are, it becomes more clear to him. So those were some important things that I forgot to say. Now we can go back to Swamiji's commentary again.
The entire universe, constituted both of the moving and the unmoving, of the sentient and the insentient, is being shown by Krishna on his own physical structure as described by the effective intimate term, here concentrated, iha ekastham, and this term has been annotated in the same verse as in this my body. Can you hear me? Because I have a blank screen in front of me.
Yeah, we can hear you,
Okay.
and I can see you too. So I don't know what happened. Maybe some computer glitch happened with you. Yeah.
The entire universe of gross forms, both movable and immovable, is to be compressed within the framework of Krishna's girth and height. As we explained earlier, the concept of space has not been completely sponged out of Arjuna's mind, but leaving in him a total space concept equivalent to Krishna's own mortal dimensions. With this mind, when Arjuna looks out, he must necessarily see, framed in Krishna, all at once, the entire universe compressed and miniaturized with its entire multiple details intact.
So this is something everybody's imagination पे छोड़ देंगे अभी कि वो कृष्णा की बॉडी में उसको सब कुछ दिखाई दे दिया, miniature सब कुछ बन गया. So just like that hologram thing, that each point contains everything, but उसका जो intensity है वो कम है. But if you were to see the entire thing, the intensity will be more, whichever way you want to see. Now, we have churned it enough. Everybody leave it to their own imagination and own shraddha जो बोलते हैं ना, उसमें छोड़ देते हैं अभी.
Even though the entire universe, including both the moving and the unmoving, is a term sufficiently elastic that it could not leave anything outside its implications, Krishna again sharpens the enthusiasm of Arjuna by stating that the Pandav could see anything else that you desire to see. As a typical mortal, Arjuna is preoccupied with his particular problem of life, and his anxiety naturally grows to peep into the future and discover its solution rather than to realize the underlying oneness that embraces even the forms in the outer world of matter.
So you saw, it's just like us. कोई बोलेगा कि एक आदमी आया है, वो सबका फ्यूचर देख सकता है, सब भागेंगे वहां पे. I want to see what is in my future, right? So anyway, firstly, there are several things in this. He talks about, when he said that, oh, behold, O Gudakesha, in this body, the entire universe. What is entire? He didn't want to leave anything. So just different categories, whichever way you want to divide the whole universe. पूरा जगत बोलो, So Jagat Bolo means physical, mental, dream world, all three worlds, waking world, dream world, and deep sleep, everything in there, non-moving, moving, everything in sufficiently elastic कि कुछ भी नहीं है उसके बाहर. पर उसको एक्साइट करने के लिए ये भी बोल दिया कि तुझे जो देखना है वो भी देख सकता है तू फ्यूचर में. So Swami ji is just saying as a typical mortal, just like us, कि वो ओके वननेस एंड ऑल दोज थिंग उसको बैकग्राउंड में डाल दिया. पहले मेरे को ये बताओ मेरे फ्यूचर में क्या है. अर्जुन का भी वैसा एग्जैक्टली हुआ कि ओके बाबा आई अंडरस्टूड ऑल दैट इंटेलेक्चुअली, वो मैं बाद में सोचूंगा, पहले मुझे देखना है कि क्या है, what is the outcome of this war. So that is just telling how we are also, because we are in this body right now, so we are have our own issues in there that we want to know, and that's what it is. It's pretty interesting, right? He's just preparing him. Any question, comment?
Let me read the connecting
Yeah.
line.
Yes.
The one in the many has been described in this chapter, in the last chapter. And here we are about to see the many in one.
So now that everybody should be able to understand completely. We have been hammered it so much, one in many and many in one. It's a confusing, but if you think about it a little bit, you will know, that when you see oneness, like when you see Bhagwan in everything, that becomes one in many. And when you see everything in Bhagwan, that is many in one, So 10th chapter is one in many, and this one is many in one. That's how it is. Any question or comment?
This is a very limited example of gold. That in the big bar of gold, you can see all the ornaments that you want to see, that you want to make out of it, that you want to have. It's very limited because there's no sentient, insentient thing in it.
But very good
But at the
example.
same time, that I can see. So more of my imagination or intuition is also involved in it as to what I want to see.
Yes.
He's saying in there. that
Right.
I would
It is
think of
everything
it.
is possible, right? Like somebody was
Everything.
saying
That's right. Yeah.
that sometimes we get some bizarre dreams. Say, how it is
Yeah.
possible? Some corner of universe, maybe it is possible. I mean, the way the science is progressing right now, don't you think that we think anything is possible now? Even this hologram that messed up my mind. Like, how can it be? It's true. Scientists have proved it that it's true. And then with the way, this artificial intelligence is moving forward,
It's going on.
on one hand, some people get very scared and all that. But personally, I feel it's just a revolution. And if you think about, go back to the Ramayana and Mahabharata time, they also had that artificial intelligence. They just told in a story form, but viman ko bola man ki gati se chalta hai. That's just a way of expressing. Okay, maybe Bhagwan also pressed one couple of buttons, sitting over, just like you have FSD now, full self drive. It's scary, but it's true. It can do it. So because I've experienced it, that's why I'm telling you that you just push one or two buttons and the car starts moving and you are kind of scared. Le jayega bhi nahi mujhe ki kya hoga, and kuch accident ho jaye, ye ho jaye. But it is true that whatever you, just like you are saying, in a bar of gold, it depends on your imagination what kind of design you want to see. And gold is very malleable too. You can make a thin tar out of it seems, and you can do something very big. So with one thing you can make maybe miles and miles of something. Sounds crazy, but it's possible. And then we talked about it, that when a Shilpkar looks at a big stone, how does he start making the murti? Because he can see the murti there.
Yeah, you can see it, and it's just a
This
lot.
is the truth. That he can.
Yes,
That's how he chisels. Otherwise, murtis drawing, you can say, oh, he did some scaling and this and that. But murti is something he has to take that boom, boom, boom. He has to go. Nobody can draw on it and start doing it, right? There's something in his head. The same thing like that Ramanuj I was talking about. He said that his mind was, Bhagwan ne aisa special usko mind diya, he can see the whole universe in a math.
Yeah. I read his book. His. I mean, I didn't see the movie.
Movie,
but I read
because
it.
movie is more kind
Yeah,
of you
read the
remember
book.
more of the
Yeah.
scenes, and also, yeah, see the movie. Very interesting that you know.
It
So what you're
was
saying
good.
is absolutely true. So whichever way we think that this thing jives with our mind, whichever angle you
Yeah,
want to take,
yeah, yeah.
but
Yeah.
all we are saying it's possible, that yes.
But I mean, this may be a stupid question, but when you talk about the Ashwini's two of the brothers of
Brothers, Ashwini Kumar, huh?
Ashwini Kumar, and here they talk about the sunset and the sun, and all that, and then you talk about as this half men or half horses or something. So what is the connection between the two
Because there are
that you
some.
talk about? And is it real or is it a myth that we're talking about? What are we talking?
So because Swamiji explained as dawn and dusk and morning
Yes,
star, evening
yes.
star, and then when I did some search, it said that they were divine healers, the two physician. See, this is what it is. When it comes from the subtle world to the gross world, some same energy can take different forms. Okay,
Yes.
I'll give you this
Okay.
example. They say Ganga Putra Bhishma. So कोई बोलेगा भाई
Yeah.
नदी कैसे औरत बन गई? How did
Yeah, I mean,
somebody
I have
can.
because of the Aditi's 12 sons, and they talk about 12 months of the year, and I'm saying, okay,
But everything
what
is
is this?
connected. So it is the way you want to look at it. Within us also, don't we have all the 5 elements?
Yeah, we
Right?
do that. Yeah,
So
yeah,
a woman can appear which have all the Ganga quality. Why not? Of calmness,
yeah.
of beauty, of this, of and all that. So because our mind gets stuck at just one aspect of creation, but creation
Okay,
can, and that's what this whole chapter is about. So the same energy can be manifest different ways.
okay.
So that the same energy as a morning and evening star
Yeah,
could also become two physicians at one time. Why not? I don't see any conflict in my head about it. And the reason I said Ashwini Kumar, because when you go to Pandavas, the two brothers,
yeah.
Nakul and Sahadev, they said they're Ashwini Kumar's sons. And yeah, that's why they are and they had the healing powers too. I was telling you about
Okay,
that.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
that they had because remember each Pandava had a divine in them, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
even Karna was Surya Putra, and then Arjuna was
Yeah,
Indra Putra, and all that. These were Ashwini Kumar's children, the two. So they had the healing power. So I would say both of them are true,
okay,
because the same
okay,
thing can manifest as different things. Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
Any other question? Okay. So we can close Bhagavad Gita if nobody has any comment or question. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tva sarva papebhya mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.